Good evening. You're flying with Pod Squadron podcast. All wings report in. This is Andy, Pod Job, standing by.
This is Tracy, Pod Tracer, standing by.
This is Lexi, Padawan, standing by.
All ships to attack formation. Mission objectives to talk about Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from a galaxy far, far away. Today we'll be talking about episode 4 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney+. Also, just a little bit of leftover Star Wars news from Star Wars Celebration. I'm sure there's plenty left that we did not get to, so that will last us for a few weeks. And for all of you out there, all comm channels are open. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe, aka the Chinese Pirate, director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing is Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy, also known as Hot Nerd Girl. On here it says that I'm a writer, blogger, and occasional cosplay artist, none of which I've been in the past 2 years since COVID started, but we'll go with it. Hi, everybody.
And on my other wing is Lexi.
Hi, guys. I am a multidisciplinary artist and death walker in training. That's an end-of-life doula. Just plugging my way through that course. I hate online courses, so this is really interesting. All right, you guys can find me on social media. It's Feral Geek.
And we are just one squad in the fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network. That's right here on YouTube or on Facebook if you're watching us there. As spoils to attack position, we're going in. All right. So how are you guys doing? We're gonna jump right into some stuff here because of course we've got some stuff to talk about with we've got new Star Wars coming out, which is always exciting. Also, we have so a little bit of news that came out recently talking about the new Acolyte series. This is the series that's headed up by Leslie Headland. That's supposed to take place towards the end of the High Republic era. And they're saying about 200 years before the Skywalker saga begins. 200 BBY. Now we've learned there's some snoopers out there who have picked up some information saying that we might get some references to Darth Revan, as well as some other kind of major Sith characters like Darth Bane, Darth Nihilus, Darth Malak, Darth Revan, all maybe in flashback or maybe even holocrons. It is not yet known, but the rumors are flowing, which is very interesting for these characters.
Are these good rumors, or are these we've got that covered rumors?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to mention the source because you never know. But
are we gonna get sued?
We have seen the rumors pop up in multiple places. And that is consistent with kind of what we know, what little we do know about the Acolyte, is that it's supposed to kind of dig into the dark side, which we haven't seen really a story other than in comics or in books from the dark side perspective of things. The other thing too, of course, this is coming hot on the heels of, I know that there is the work in progress that is the rebuild of the High Republic games, which are supposed to. I mean, if did either of you guys ever play the High Republic games?
I did not have a gaming system when they came out.
Great game. And yeah, they are apparently remaking those, but they do dig into some of these characters, and there's some great twists that allow you to learn the path of some of these legendary characters.
When I have a little expendable, it's on my list. I'm just a baby gamer, so I've only had my PlayStation for a couple of years.
That's okay. Gaming is my one big nerd weakness, gaming and anime. Everything else I'm good, but those two
It is
things
like
I'm like,
it is a hobby in the truest sense of a word for me. So
I gotta
except for
say,
World of Warcraft. I do like World of Warcraft.
I haven't gamed regularly, a video game regularly in quite some time. I mean, I do, you know, now that the trailer for Jedi Survivor has come out, I really do want to try and get to Fallen Order because I've heard so much. Not even just in terms
I
of
have played Fallen Order.
gameplay. You have?
So
Okay.
good.
Oh, so
Yes,
then you're a step ahead of
yes.
me then.
Mhm.
And I hear the
really
story is great too. So.
Mhm.
Anyways, yeah, all very interesting. Would love to see some of that that lore get recanonized and played with. So we shall see as we watch the headlines and see if anything new comes from that. But shall we get into the latest episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Sure. Yes. Oh, hold on. Can I tack something on for the news really quick?
Sure. Yeah.
What I forgot about is that there's like little mini update sort of, or kind of conflicting information. I don't know, maybe they're just putting it out there to like continue to generate interest in face of delays. But Taika Waititi's film, you've got a quote from him. He was interviewed by Screen Rant and they were asking him about the plot and he said, "That's yet to be seen. I'm still in writing, still coming up with ideas and storylining, and I just want to make sure that it feels like a Star Wars film, because I could say, oh yeah, we'll just write any old thing, set it in space and put Star Wars on the front, but it wouldn't be a Star Wars film without certain elements and a certain treatment. So I've just got to make sure that it stays within that wheelhouse," which kind of puts a little bit of a damper on Kathleen Kennedy apparently saying that they were aiming for a late 2023 release, but hadn't officially locked anything in.
That's the thing that's crazy to me, right?
She's being violently optimistic there, I think, when they don't even have a like.
I mean, unless he's obfuscating everything and he already has a script, he's just not letting on. I mean,
He might be. There's, I don't know if there are quotes from his co-writer, Christy Wilson Cairns, or not. It would be interesting to hear what she has to say, or if she said anything. I didn't have a chance to look that up. But if they are still in the writing process, 2023 seems, like I said, violently optimistic. But hey, you know what? They could just be, you know, like misdirecting us. I don't know. He could just be putting off saying anything until he finishes all the promo for Thor: Love and Thunder. So
yeah, I mean, it's very true. And of course, Thor is coming very soon, so he will be in the press cycle quite a bit and under the gun. And I can see Tracy is chomping at the bit there for some new Thor.
Yes.
And of course, some Padme Thor, right? Little bit of redemption.
I think I'm more excited about her than I am about him.
Right? I mean, she looks great. I mean, I also just kind of think about all the poor PAs have to like stack up all the apple boxes in pathways and tracks for her so she can walk alongside Chris Hemsworth and be.
Oh, they're not just sticking with her normal height? Like they're doing that?
I mean, the way, like when you see her in the trailer, she is clearly like at least head to shoulder height, but she is tiny compared to him. Like,
yeah,
her head comes up to like just above his belly button.
Well, you can see it in the first couple movies, right? She comes up to like his nipple.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, but you hear all those stories of like many like Tom Cruise gets, lines of apple boxes to walk along, or Sylvester Stallone and stuff. So I would imagine.
I just learned that Kelly McGillis is 5'10", which means she was definitely hovering over him in the first Top Gun movie.
In fact, I think they embraced that a little bit in the original. I remember there being shots of her being taller than him because he was, scrawny little pilot. Yeah. All right. Shall we get into Obi-Wan?
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts to start us off as we get into the episode?
Well, Paul said that little Leia is quickly becoming his favorite Star Wars child, or continues to be his favorite Star Wars child, which I must say, the little girl from Bird Box, she's really kind of nailing Leia, at least New Hope
Yeah.
Leia, and
Yeah.
her kind of spunk, right? Her sass.
The all the sass has been great, but the moment that really nailed it for me was the last week's episode, when she kind of called him out on "You Knew My Mother," right?
Yeah.
The way she played that was like, ooh, that landed.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got the range to not just kind of do cute and sassy, but to actually land some lines when she needs to, and I appreciate that a lot. I think she's doing
So
a good job.
we open this episode, right, of course, with the dual flashback to as we see both Obi-Wan and Anakin or Vader, each in their own respective Bacta tanks, kind of flashing
back to the vertical
to,
ones too, which
yeah.
I like.
Yeah. And very interesting to see the contrast of, both of them healing from this last battle, and the kind of the mirroring of the burn wounds.
I hate to go there, but and never any shade on Tamora Morrison, but man, that one back to tank scene was more effective than any of the Boba Fett ones.
I mean, trying to do much different things, to be fair, but
Anyway.
Well, but also you have two force sensitive individuals who are very much connected to each other.
I just mean, like,
So
yeah, but I just mean it was like, and you're putting them in like almost a sensory deprivation pool, like 11 in Stranger Things,
right.
so it's going to amplify it. But I mean, that's why it was such a more effective scene to focus on it than in Boba Fett. Like, they could have given him like one set of that instead of using it like over and over and over and over.
Well, just like, I mean, they were just, I mean, just how they mirrored their shots, like
that was beautiful.
The upper back, and then the upper back of Anakin, the cut off hand of Anakin, and then the hand of Obi-Wan, and and them kind of shifting and in very synchronous movements. It was
a really bizarre pas de deux. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, and them both being in the vertical back to tanks rather than the horizontal, which OCD me prefers the horizontal ones because it seems like the water gets cleaned every time, whereas just they can just dunk anybody. In the vertical ones, it's like the hot tub at the hotel, and you're just like,
the other thing that bothers me about the vertical ones is if you're that injured, like, and they have to take you from prone to like, oh god, like what, like, anyway. Yeah, it's just a lot of effort. Just slip me in. Anyway.
Well,
it
of course, like Obi-Wan wakes right up because once he realizes where he is, that they've gone to what's the planet, Jabin. And
do you think he cut himself off because he could feel that Anakin was sensing him and he didn't want to give away his position?
I think that's probably a big reason.
They don't seem to like imply that they can fully hear each other. It just like seem to just kind of imply they're linked, right? In some way.
Right. But if they are linked in some way, perhaps if that link continues, right? It's like tracing a call. Like, you have to be on the line for a certain amount of time before they can trace the call. Like, maybe he started to sense that Vader was getting a little too close, and that because he woke up early. It was not his like scheduled time to get up, and he wasn't like in his sensory deprivation. He was not thinking about Leia per se. Not that we saw. Of course, his first thought when he came out was, where's
inevitably Leia, because of course he's just been like unwillingly communing with her father via the phone.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So of course he wakes up immediately and he's like, I have to go save Leia. And if everyone is like, look, she's at the Fortress Inquisitorius. There's no way. And,
cool. When are we going?
Yeah. But it was also an interesting exchange with O'Shea Jackson where it's like, we're not soldiers, right? Which is an interesting thing. You can see like the little beginnings of a rebel cell. They've got their base on Jabin and they've got this operation, but they're all just trying to help. They're not soldiers. They do have a couple of T-47s. He calls those out, which we get to see later on in the episode. But it's really interesting kind of seeing, these proto-rebel actions kind of bubbling up.
And something that you mentioned the moment where she asks Obi-Wan if he knew her mother. I wanted to like touch on that because it just brought something to mind, which is that they show you that she's that perceptive, she's that intelligent, and yet when she asks, "Are you my father?" and he says no, instead of asking him further, "Did you know my father?"
Yeah.
She just goes, "Oh, I always imagined him," or she like basically she doesn't ask him, and he doesn't offer any information.
Right. That is
I don't think
she,
there's something subconsciously probably that she's, or maybe she's
not
conscious
wanting to
of
know.
it, but she doesn't want to know yet.
Yeah.
Well, remember in what was it, Return of the Jedi, when her and Luke are, after they figure out that they're siblings, she says that she remembers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she says she was always
Like,
very sad.
Yeah.
Right.
Just impressions or just images, really, right?
Right.
Which is the kind of fun thing about this series of, we still don't know how they're going to do it, but there's a lot of these little lines from the original trilogy that they now have the
They're
ability
justifying,
to justify, like that line of how, does she maybe pick up images of her mother through Obi-Wan's memories? Does, there's still the thing when Obi-Wan and Vader meet in episode 4, he says, "When last I left you, I was but the learner, now I am the master," right? Which implies Vader left Obi-Wan, not Obi-Wan escaped him. And of course, as we know, in Revenge of the Sith, we see Obi-Wan leave him to die on Mustafar. So now they can also address that of how is it that Vader remembers leaving him. Yeah. All these little things.
Since you brought up Mustafar, can we talk about how here you have this fire and lava planet with this, this temple that Vader lives in, and then on Nur, where Fortress Inquisitorius is, that has the same shaped kind of temple thing. There's kind of like this tip of this iceberg. It's a water planet, but they're the ones that are kind of modeled after Vader.
And apparently both in the Mustafar system. So you have a water planet and the fire planet in the same system. How very George Lucas of you.
Well, Nur, I think, is a moon. I think Mustafar is a planet, and Nur is a moon of a nearby planet, right?
I think it's still in the Mustafar system. I think there's a quick line when he's asking where is the Fortress Inquisitorius, and they say it's in the Mustafar system. So it could be orbiting Mustafar, which is,
Yeah. Just that juxtaposition, though. I just think that that's really clever.
Okay, so since we're talking about this and these kind of, from the whole, it's like poetry, it rhymes. I'm going to bring this up early. I was going to wait to do this. So this thing got me very excited when I watched this the second time, because I'm like, oh, okay. So this episode is essentially, the plot is Obi-Wan has to break into an Imperial fortress to rescue Princess Leia. Oh, that's also the plot of episode 4. Oh wait, this is episode 4. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, wait a minute. Episode 1 of this series is the villains kidnap royalty in order to obfuscate their actual goals. That is which is also the plot of The Phantom Menace. You also have Tatooine and an opulent, Alderaan versus Naboo, but an opulent, planet. Then you get to episode 2, where it's Obi-Wan investigates in a seedy city planet, which is also the plot of episode 2. Also, you have city planet, also a water planet. In episode 2 film, it was Camino. Episode 3, we have the face-off with Vader over fire, and I was like, oh shoot.
So what's really
there
beautiful
are 6
about
episodes
that,
of this series, and it's like poetry, it rhymes.
yeah, what's really beautiful about that is that that follows like a really good George Lucas formula, where he likes to be classical, bring things full circle. And if you think about it, even though this is a later creation, it's chronologically before, right? So if this is the order things went in before, then the original trilogy would have been all of that coming full circle again.
Yeah. It also
kind of like how A Force Awakens is like New Hope.
That's a whole other thing. But I digress. I'm not going to get into
whole other beast, but elements of it, yeah.
Elements.
During the pot.
Yes. In spirit. But it does, call to mind. Okay, so we have 2 more episodes. Episode 5, of course. Then should we expect the inevitable Qui-Gon Jinn cameo?
Force Ghost
this week, hopefully, fingers crossed. Maybe more reveals about the secrets of our villain Reva. So, yeah,
hopefully.
That.
I feel like we learn a little bit more about Reva each week, right? She said that she had a droid herself.
She has a pretty good bit where she talks where she's frustrated by the way Leia is able to resist her mind probes, and she says you're, what does she say? She says you're scared, and I was scared once too. Or no, she says you're trying to be strong.
Well, the more scared the more brave you appear, the more scared you are.
Yeah, first she says you're strong. She does give it that. She goes, you're strong, and then she goes, the more brave you appear, what Tracy said, the more scared you are. I know. Well, and then she says I know because I basically admits I know because I did that myself.
Oh.
But also seems to be a tell for her, right? I mean,
the Jedi who have been ambered, do we think that the youngling that was in, like they showed a very prominent shot of a youngling in amber? Do we think that that's one of the younglings that Reva escaped with?
That occurred to me, and I just haven't had a chance to go back and check. But if anybody does or has checked, let us know, and I'll try to remember to do that at some point when I have time, because I would really love to know. And then if that is, then maybe he's part of a backstory, like she had to betray him to join them or something,
Yeah.
But there was a few different amber Jedi that one looked almost like Quinlan Voss.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's probably not because of the message on the wall. There was one that looked like the old guy from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I think that might have been.
Well, in Dira Varna already kind of says when she said when he calls out Quinlan was here, and she said he helps sometimes. So presumably she's met him. So I mean,
right.
He's out there. But
and then there was like the guy with the
guy from Clone Wars. Yeah, so we do get to see Tara Sinube, who is the very slow Ent-like Jedi who helps out Ahsoka
with the cane,
solve a murder.
The white lightsaber cane.
Yeah.
And then they focused in on 2 women, which made me wonder if they were O'Shea Jackson. I'm blanking on his character's name, Rika or something, Revan, something like that. Anyway, I was wondering if that maybe one of those 2 women was his wife, because he very pointedly said, I had a Force sensitive wife, and that's why he ends up helping.
To be dressed like a Jedi as we expect, right? So.
Well, neither did like Nanook of the North over there. Like some of these Jedi were like, they must have just been Force sensitive and not full on Jedi.
Nanook of the North.
There was a total Nanook of the North in there. Anyway, maybe he's from Hoth. I don't know.
That's funny. Yeah, a lot of little interesting things to kind of go back and hit pause and take a look at there as we see the tomb. Also some funny things. I kind of I mean, it was a little cheesy, but I enjoyed it. Just kind of the whole plan to infiltrate the Fortress Inquisitorius, right? How, because the Empire is of course ruled by fear, everyone is susceptible to pulling rank. So you can just, Indira Varna can just pull rank and say, you're a lower rank than me. I'm more important to you,
But at the same time, the Grand Inquisitor hasn't been there for a while. So when she like name drops the Grand Inquisitor and he doesn't seem to realize.
I mean, presumably they are all kind of kept in the dark about stuff. So I mean, I still buy that.
And I think, I think people also forget like how big a galaxy is, because you know you could work for a state official or like a federal official and go a couple of weeks without seeing them and it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
So imagine if instead of just going to different countries, your boss had different planets to check on, like you'd be totally fine not seeing him for weeks.
But also how miserable all these like Imperial troops are.
Yeah.
Right?
You know,
They're,
okay,
like...
so I will say something, and I really hope it's for good plot reasons. Okay. I understood what they were trying to do. Is it all right if we like, cut ahead to like a plot point, or do we want to wait? Because it has to do with
how much are you?
We'll wait. Actually, we'll wait. We'll wait.
Jumping ahead.
It's not that far, but we'll wait. We'll wait.
So okay, so let's see here. So okay, so Obi-Wan's searching the thing. We also get some more random dialogue from stormtroopers of how disgruntled they are, or they're hoping to get transfers.
It's creepy.
Mhm.
It is kind of creepy being underwater with like massive sea creatures all around you, and like it's all windows
and people in
yeah. There's like you're surrounded by corpses. It is creepy, and some of them are kids.
Call OSHA.
Oh,
definitely.
Well, where would you even start with that? Because I mean, there's a few handrail violations that the Empire would need to answer for.
But okay, see, that's the thing. The thing that the Empire wouldn't have is handrail violations.
Okay, so we see Leia get strapped to some machine, presumably to help torture her into submitting, of course. And that's when Obi-Wan, this was a great little reference. So again, here's a video game thing, and of the few video games that I've played. So if anyone remembers the old Force Unleashed, the first trailer, where like the first time we had seen someone kind of do stealth Jedi attacks or assassination kills, where the lights go out, the lightsaber lights, the stormtrooper goes down. That was totally a callback to the Force Unleashed.
Well, and also Quinlan's quote was like, you have to close your eyes sometimes to see, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So by turning out the lights, like here he is, he's so unconfident in his abilities because he hasn't flexed those muscles in 10 years. So by turning out the lights, he can kind of go on instinct, right? Because even in the hallway, which I can't remember if the hallway.
Well, the reason that I said distraction is because he's not trained for a long time, so focusing is going to be harder. So if you eliminate a lot of the sensory overload, then all you have is the Force. It's probably like kind of an autistic perspective.
The hallway was after.
We also get a nice little visual callback, right? Because once Leia is rescued, you have that kind of red underlight that really makes her resemble Carrie Fisher in the carbonite freezing chamber, right?
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, go back and take a look at that, and then think about that Leia in the carbonite chamber. It's like there's definitely a callback kind of in that visual.
Yeah, I wanted to give like props to the lighting designers and the production designers, because I think they did a really wonderful job of making something that felt analogous to the original trilogies, but also like expanded on it. It didn't feel just like a copy or a replica.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, so they go for the escape. Oh, other little cool things, right? So we kind of see Indira Varma's character using the little cylinders for her ID, and also to hack into the system and get maps and stuff. Let's see here. We also see, okay, so then as they escape, they're escaping through the water tunnel, and we get to see Obi-Wan back. He's deflecting blasters. He's holding the water back in the glass with the Force. Oh, okay.
I used to watch way too many episodes of that show where the two guys build giant fish tanks. The cracking of that The fact that should be like 8 feet thick, right? To withstand the pressure. I don't buy it for a second that would crack.
Unless it's space
Depends.
glass, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be space. It could be transparent aluminum.
Yeah, whatever
That's
they
Star
have.
Trek. Star Wars isn't cool enough for transparent aluminum, Scotty. Thank you, Kevin. Yes, the show is called Tanked. Yeah.
Fish tank.
There's
yeah,
no
very good.
way.
Took me a second.
I call shenanigans. OSHA-nanigans.
But
Ocean?
I got it.
Ocean?
I
OSHA. OSHA-nanigans. Anyway.
I kept worrying that something was just gonna like when he was swimming. But that wasn't obviously where they wanted the story to go. So I was like, all right, that probably won't happen. Just with like the way they got to keep this arc moving, but it was very anxiety making. And
Oh, that visual was almost exactly like Fallen Order, though. I will say the swimming scenes in Fallen Order, like they almost took the exact same path. It was really weird.
Yeah, that's right. I heard that. So that's basically the same way that the character in Fallen Order sneaks in as well, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, they learned nothing after Fallen Order. Or maybe. Let's see here. Okay, so they escape. They make it through the tunnel. And then we have. I chuckled at this. I kind of enjoyed this, and I'm sure there are people that are pissed off by this. But they do the two cartoons in a big coat trick.
The Little Rascals.
Yes, I laughed so hard. Yeah, I was like, they're just two kids in a trench coat.
It's so dumb, but I was like, okay, I'm down for it. I'm fine.
How else were they gonna get her out?
They needed something a little just. I feel like that was kind of the little bit of a Hail Mary where it's like so obvious and everybody's so uptight and going about their business. They're like, no one's gonna want to like look twice at a commanding officer who's walking a little weird.
Right,
Because they don't want to be caught staring. No, so it's like,
okay.
Rodney,
talk about if we want to talk about how. Can I just mention that they're not very observant anyway, because there is an entire troop of stormtroopers about to walk into a wall in that scene. So are they gonna notice the two people walking around? No. Sorry, no. Rodney, did you have something to say?
You want to jump in, Rodney, and give your counterpoint? Pro two kids in a coat versus anti kids in a coat. Okay, maybe he's not gonna. Okay, so two kids in a coat. And then of course they are surrounded. We see Obi-Wan surrounded by a massive army in the middle of a hangar, very reminiscent of facing off against Grievous. I mean, I wanted to hear the hello there, but of course,
and like half the episodes of Clone Wars.
Yeah. That's true. But and of course then we have the T-47s. The two fighters show up from O'Shea's little cell and cause chaos, and they're able to escape.
Ish.
Oh, because poor Wade. Wade.
I'll tell you just from like directing storytelling standpoint, I don't think they should have killed Wade. I think that as much as I love her, they should have killed Tala, because it actually would have made for a better emotional beat / impact. I think she would have been the more effective death, as much as I'm really glad we get to see more of Indira Varma, and as much as I love her character, and as much as I'm sure she's plot important for the next 2 episodes. There was just not enough of who Wade was before for
an emotional attachment.
An emotional attachment to form for the audience in the same way it would have for Leia and Obi-Wan when they met the person or like felt guilty about it, you know?
So my counterpoint to that is that, to me, that moment and that death isn't necessarily about kind of the emotional loss as much as it is the raising of the stakes for O'Shea Jackson's cell, because that's the whole beat
I
that
agree,
they have at the
but I
end
still
there,
think
where
that
they're
would have been
saying, we're
accomplished.
not soldiers, and this is, well, now you're soldiers now.
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, but that's why I kind of think that it still would have been really effective if it was Tala, because she was like one of their
But
like
she was a
inside
soldier.
people.
You
Yeah,
know, she
but
is an Imperial soldier
yeah,
already.
I mean, I get that, but they know that she's their inside person, and so it would have been the heavy shock for them to be like, wait a minute, our most experienced person, our only soldier got taken out. This is serious. Because it's got to serve multiple functions, because they were trying to go for a little bit of emotional impact, or they wouldn't have they wouldn't have done a close-up on like Leia holding Obi-Wan's hand after they all get out of there, and they're like, where's Wade? And it's like, they don't answer, and she like goes and she reaches for his hand, and they make a point of showing it. So they wouldn't do that if they weren't trying to comment that it had some kind of emotional impact on Leia and Obi-Wan too.
Well, I mean, I mean, to me, like, the emotional impact there is, okay, we're now starting to see a bond for Leia and Obi-Wan. We can now justify why she will eventually name her son Ben. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but I think that was already forming to begin with. I mean, anyway, I see that there was a lot of opportunities, and I actually I'm happy that we get more Tala, more of Indira Varma's character. Totally. But like, just for me, I was like, oh, the juicier choice would have been to rip our heart out.
Well, maybe we get to know her even better and they kill her off in the 6th episode.
Yeah, they might. I just think it would have been effective here, but I'm glad we get to see more of her. Hey.
Yeah.
If he's gonna make it through the whole thing and be one of like the grandmothers of the revolution, that would also be cool. I'd be happy with whatever they choose as long as it's strong.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I do feel though that there is a method to this madness.
There's a method to this madness. I'm sure they'll make a strong choice regardless.
Yeah. But
just just noodling.
Well, and so this is the other thing. Were I to take my crackpot theory about how the 6 episodes of this are mirroring episode 1 through 6, then we can presume that perhaps this next episode in a couple of days will be his cell being pursued relentlessly by the Empire, right?
Yeah, that seems like it.
And that kind of fits that arc of O'Shea Jackson's character in terms of their transition from just helping people out to becoming a full-on rebel cell that will kind of lead to the Alliance, right? Or for that matter, getting connected to Mon Mothma and Bail Organa and all that. So an expansion of the path.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
They're definitely keeping her around because there's more for her to do.
Sure. Yeah.
And
any other thoughts for this episode?
Okay, so yes, Leia is very quick and she's very observant. The very last shot that we see of the episode is Lola coming back online and her eye is now glowing red instead of blue.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And
that's right. I almost forgot.
Lola got a tracker put
the furious angry Vader scene where he throws
throwing her was like, I gasped. Like, I was like, holy shit, that's a hell of a Force choke.
Yeah. Well, also getting to see like furious Vader like storm through the hallways. Yeah. That was actually pretty cool and fun. I mean, we're getting some very good rageful Vader.
Yeah. He hasn't quite learned to like control his emotions quite yet. But
I don't think
Leia. Well, but you see him Force choke other people, and he's very calculated about it. And in this, it was like there was still some emotion there, right?
Well, but
granted, we're dealing with Obi-Wan.
That almost makes that I was gonna say that makes me think that it's just more about the personal nature of it, which either has to do with Obi-Wan or her. Like maybe she reminds him of himself, and it pisses him off.
Well, I feel like she's like the #1 fan of his fan club or something.
Yeah, but I mean, Anakin's never really been known for being emotionally rational, so when it's Darth Vader, like, who knows how he's gonna respond to people? I feel like.
This is true. But I feel like Leia knows Lola so well that she's gonna notice pretty quickly that
Oh yeah,
she's gone from blue to red. I don't
yeah.
think the tracker is gonna. I think they might they might be able to track it just long enough to get a general location of where to look, but I
Hmm.
don't think it's gonna be something that's ongoing. I think that I
Or
think
yeah, or it'll be one of those, oh no, we were stopped for repairs and we gotta rush it to get out of here in time, and they like, have to do like a quick escape, and the Empire shows up like right as they're leaving, and there's like shots fired, and then they like do it, and it's, what I mean, like a rebel style escape. Oh no, the Empire showed up, we gotta bounce.
so. Kevin thinks that Vader and Reva, it's because she's a youngling that he didn't get. But I don't think so because there's almost all of the Inquisitors are former younglings, right? And
Right.
but they seem to have a slightly different situation where somehow she knows that Obi-Wan is important to him when the other Inquisitors have long given up and don't think that he's either important enough to look for or that he's probably dead. So
Yes.
what
Well, and
communication
also
do
she knows
Vader and Reva
Anakin is
have?
Vader.
And right. So they
Yeah,
obviously have some kind of connection that I hope we
there's
learn
some
more
sort of,
about
yeah.
in the last two
I'd be very
episodes.
disappointed if we didn't. That would be a not functional loose end. Like
Right. And it's
not a
something
good
it's what
cliffhanger, you guys.
and whatever their connection is, it's not something that has been revealed to the other Inquisitors. She's just like, fuck you to them. I'm going to do my thing. And they don't really get why.
Hmm.
But if she's got some kind of secret mission that she's not telling anybody about, that's just between her and Vader, I'm interested in that.
So I'm also kind of like, do you guys think we will see a Grand Inquisitor again?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Do you think it'll be next episode, or it'll just be the last tag of the last episode?
I think it's going to end up being him and Obi-Wan in a fight in episode 5.
Oh, okay. So
5 or
you
6.
think
I will.
Inquisitor will be
Okay, I was thinking like video game ish, where like Obi-Wan and him would fight in episode 5 and him and Vader would fight in episode 6. But I don't think that him and Vader are going to come face to face because of their introduction to each other in A New Hope when they finally meet up on the Death Star. I don't think they're ever going to come face to face again.
I mean, at this
Post
point,
burning scene.
I mean, we
Oh,
have Reva has a tracer on O'Shea Jackson. They're gonna, Reva will probably be leading
right.
the
Grand Inquisitor in
charge.
episode 5, Reva and Obi-Wan episode 6. she's the big bad guy in this. In this
I mean, I
game.
could also see a world in which, so okay, so some of the extended material, the whole backstory of Grand Inquisitor, right, is that Grand Inquisitor came back a couple of times in comics and stuff.
In Clone Wars, he's in Clone Wars.
Not in Clone Wars.
Or Rebels.
In Rebels.
Which is after this.
Well, he dies at the end of season 1. And he comes back in flashbacks, but it's implied in, I think, one of the comic series that Vader would not let him die. That he was kind of put somewhere to protect. I can't remember what the story was. He basically put his soul there where he basically couldn't die, or his soul was like stuck in this place to like guard this place. And so that was something that I thought like they could, maybe they're establishing that relationship.
Is it kind of like that Jedi that was like calling to other Jedi and she was a trap, like that kind of thing?
Oh,
you know what? I thought about Luminara when we were in the scene with Amber.
Tombs and Amber, yep.
Yeah, where I was like, oh, is that kind of a setup for the Luminara lure?
Jedi bait.
Yeah.
See, I've been on a Fringe binge, so when I see all these people in Amber, I'm like, oh, just take the amber off. They'll be alive.
I need to rewatch Fringe and reclaim it, because the first time I watched it was with a really shitty ex. Like when it first came out, and I need to like reclaim it. It's so good.
There was another part of me that was like half wondering, like, okay, if maybe the amber is not like death, and they're just in stasis. And is
Yeah.
Grogu floating in the amber pod at some point too?
Or does O'Shea Jackson get his wife back?
Yeah.
Yeah, is she in there?
But
Because it's
Well,
What
implied
if they?
there might be, because it's implied that might, like, just knowing how the Sith do and knowing how big, the fortress is, that might not be the only hallway, of
yeah, that's
amber
true.
caskets.
Right.
I remember there was something in Fringe about how the people who were trapped in amber actually like were semi-conscious. What if that was the case and that poor little youngling, it's like been like 20 something years and he's like
not able to age,
and he's like, I'm still a little bored, damn it.
It's like, where's Aang? I need a friend.
He's like Claudia from Interview with a Vampire. I just want to be a grown-up.
Except
Yeah,
mine
that's a
is
good
smaller
idea.
people.
And yeah, maybe they're making like Jurassic Park and putting them in amber, extracting their blood and making Snokes.
Oh, that's the other thing, right? Are they using their DNA for those experiments?
Yeah, that could be where they're like same ones that they're trying to catch Grogu for.
All very interesting.
Kevin just says, what if they're like batteries? Like the Matrix?
Oh, wow.
like a force battery.
Force battery.
Yeah.
A force field.
Oh,
It's like when the evil one of the evil Ricks puts a bunch of Mortys and puts them on the constantly prodding them since all the Morty minds hide the Rick mind.
That's pretty good.
All right. I think that's about any other final thoughts before we move on.
We've had a suggestion for a throwaway series, Force Ghosts Coast to Coast, where it's just Force Ghosts giving commentary on what they're seeing from beyond the mortal realm.
You remember when we were looking at the fan films and it was the veteran trooper and the rookie trooper? I'm in my head picturing that kind of feel, mixed with like the ancestors from Mulan being like, oh, well, we can't all be acupuncturists, well, my kid did this. Oh, look at your Padawan. Oh, genius.
Well, I did think about when there was when suddenly Uncle Owen became a meme for roasting Obi-Wan, and of course the very next episode, Leia is roasting Obi-Wan, and then like Vader is roasting Obi-Wan literally. Yeah, roasting Obi-Wan. Everyone.
My laptop.
You Obi lost me on that one. Get it?
I thought it was an Obi-Wan.
I know.
It was an Obi-2. Anyway. Any other comments in the chat?
I think I read somewhere.
Obi,
I gotta confirm this, but I think Ewan McGregor's younger brother, is in the military, and his call sign nickname is Obi-2. I need to verify that, but
Royal Air Force.
It's true. Yeah,
Good.
He's a Royal Air Force pilot.
There we are. That's what it was.
And of course, also nephew to Wedge Antilles, of course.
Yep. And father to a spice dealer.
That's right. 3 generations of McGregors in the Star Wars universe.
Family.
Anything else?
There's nothing else in the chat.
Nothing else in the chat.
No. Kevin also suggests. Yes, he also said force conduits instead of force field, as an alternative to force field. But yes, that's. Thanks for your contributions this episode, Kevin.
All right. Well, that is our show for the day. Come back next week. We are going to get into episode 5. We'll see if my theory holds. And if we see any Empire Strikes Back callbacks, like, maybe a pursuit, maybe reveals about our villains, secrets about our villains. What else could we see? Maybe we could see another asteroid belt or something like that. Let's see here. And then, we want to see all of your Star Wars creations. Do you cosplay? Do you make fan films, build droids, build models, sell stuff on Etsy? Show us how Star Wars has inspired you, and we just might feature you here on the show.
There's a first for everything. Someone send us something so we can actually fulfill that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had a cosplayer. We've had a couple cosplayers, and then I don't think we've had any makers. We've had no makers. That's really sad.
That's very true.
Y'all make something, damn it!
Go make a thing. Okay, please follow Geekish Network on YouTube and Facebook, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining us here on Monday nights. We're here every week at 6:30, right before Geek Beast. There's no Geek Beast tonight, unfortunately. So it's just us chickens. Check all the schedules for all the other great shows here on the Geekish Network. Let's see here. Thanks on the flight deck to Rodney. And we are the Pod Squadron. Please check out all of our content on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for podcast subscriptions. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I am the Chinese Pirate at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms.
I think I'm frozen, but you can probably hear me.
And your lips are first in amber.
I just look like I'm judging the moon behind me, but that's cool. I am Tracy, aka Hot Nerd Girl, on all of the things. Just Google me.
All right, you guys can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is Feral Geek Aesthetic, and then because Feral Geek was taken, and so on Facebook I am just the Feral Geek. Sometimes I even post.
And you can also check out our good friend Jason Beyond Forever Studios on all the things. All wings return to base, course lated and prepare to make the jump to lightspeed on my mark. Remember, the truths we all cling to depend on our own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night.
I have to pee.
But you're frozen.